All right. So better late than never. Thought it was just going to be a quick pizza. Nope. Designer pizza, 30-minute wait. Then you get served. Ridiculous prices. Whatever. My daughter paid, so whatever. No big deal. Hopefully, some guys are still up. I know it's late. It's about, 12 minutes to 10. I know Nikki's probably long asleep and the other guy's over there. But anyway, didn't expect everyone to stay up this late. It should have been 7, 8 o'clock. Instead, it's almost 10 o'clock. But see what happens. Hopefully, someone will chime in. Mr. Faust or somebody who's lurking will get a notification. So, good day today. My buddy Matt decided he wanted to go to the Zagray show this morning. So, he called me up, said, I'm on my way up there. You want to come? So, he turned back around, picked me up, and we went up there. So, it was fun. Had a good time. Picked up those two saws, the 262 XP that I think Nikki's telling me is a 95, and then the 346 XP, which he's telling me is a 2007. So I think they got a decent deal on them. So we'll see. Somebody just chimed in, so we'll see if it's Jesse or James or Timmy or Craig or Maddie. Who knows? Could be anybody. But anyway, live stream. It's late, but I'm still here. Talk about the show. It was a good show. This weekend's two shows in Connecticut, the Zagray show in Colchester and the Antique Machinery show in Kent, Connecticut. So two good shows, a lot at each show. Colchester's more family oriented versus Kent. Kent, a lot of politics at Kent, but Kent's a good show too. I mean, there's equipment at both places. If you're into steam, Kent is a better show for steam. There's a lot of steam at Kent. If you're into just old equipment and steam shovels and sawmills and stuff like that, then the show at Colchester at Zagray is a better show for that. So we did Zagray today. Will I do Kent tomorrow? I don't know. I have a bunch of customers' equipment in the driveway waiting. I don't know if I'm going to get to it, but we'll see. Everybody wants their stuff fixed. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it all tomorrow or if I'm going to play hooky and go to the show. It's supposed to rain, though, all day. I mean, raining at these shows is not fun because it gets very muddy and it's tough when you're walking around all day in the mud. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see. Now that I have a 346 XP good running saw, I'll probably bring that to the get together up in Norwich to Dan's in a couple weeks. The 262, Maddie's telling me definitely put seals in it. I took the muffler out, and the cylinder's perfect. Not even a scratch. It's a beautiful, beautiful looking piston and cylinder. The muffler, I don't know what this guy did. One of the bolts must have stripped or something, so he put a larger bolt in or something. Nothing major, just kind of weird when I saw I had a hex head on it. Kind of strange, but we'll have to fix that up. But both need cleanup. The 346 XP needs a new top cover because he bought a Chinese top cover. Didn't fit right because the top cover on this one is the newer one with the primer bulb. So he bought one without a primer bulb that screws down. This one had the primer bulb with the locking tabs. So I'm going to have to find one of those on eBay and get that right because it has to be right. So according to Nikki, I think it's a 2007, he said, on a 346 XP. So we'll see. I see one person's out there. Whoever's lurking, you can chime in, say hello if you'd like. Everyone's welcome. Usually we have 8 to 10 people here at one time talking, but I know it's late. It's Saturday night. It was family night for us. We went out, my wife and 2 daughters. We had pizza and $10 glass craft beer, which it was good, but I don't think it was worth $10. But anyway, so fun night, Stopped at a friend's house afterwards and chewed the fat a little bit, and then now we're home. So not too bad. So what else is going on? Working on stuff. What do I have in the driveway now? I've got a Skag walk behind that supposedly has transmission problems. Usually in those transmission, it's a Peerless, I think it's called 700-70 is the transmission. It's a 5-speed transmission with reverse. So usually shifter keys go in those. So I'll have to check that out. I've got a Sears Craftsman 2 tractor from the 80s, I believe. That needs a tune-up, blade sharpened, and a couple of tire tubes. And then I just picked up I think it's a 90s Craftsman, decent garden tractor, but the hood was all smashed up, and that needs a full cleaning, tune up, and remove all the covers to get all the mouse nests out. Tons of mouse nests in this thing. But those guys that work on tractors and engines told the guys the other day, go to Lowe's if you need blades and filters and stuff for your tractors and push mowers. They've got all kinds of beginning of season closeouts on filters, blades. I got 3 blades for a 48-inch deck, list price. They usually go for about $45. They actually had it on there for like 11 and change. It was ridiculous, really low. So, and filters that usually go for $20, they had for $3. So, been stocking up at Lowe's, all the Lowe's in my area for the past few weeks. So, it's good because, if a filter is usually $10 and you can get it for 2, I mean, that's a hell of a deal. So, loading up on that stuff. What else? They didn't have a lot of saws at the Zagre show today. They probably had about 10 or 12 Huskies. One guy had like 5 of them. That's where I bought mine from. I probably paid a little too much. I probably paid $25 or $30 too much. But you know what? Now that I see what the piston looks like and everything, they were well-maintained saws. So, Timmy, how you doing, buddy? They were well-maintained saws. I'm hoping the 46 has the same looking piston as the 62 because the 62 piston is primo, not even a scratch. Looks like a brand new piston. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. So, and when I started them, didn't even use the decomp. I just choked them, popped on the first pull, ran on the second or third. So, hey, I tell you, for what I paid, Tim, I mean, literally, I think what I paid for both is what the 262 is worth. So it's almost like getting the 346 XP for free. So, and it's a newer one too. It's got the primer bulb and it's got, I got to get a top cover for it. But I tell you, they both run phenomenal. I held them at all different angles to make sure the seals were good. And I tell you, they sound and feel good. So I got to do a compression test tomorrow to see. But they tell you, I was fortunate. Like I said, my buddy was going up there and he said, oh shit, call Kenny. So he called me up and said, oh, I'll turn around. So he turned around, picked me up. We went up there. So thank God for that, but because it's a drive to get to Colchester is about an hour and 10 minutes, hour and 15 minutes from here. So closer to Maddie. I mean, Colchester's probably 20 minutes from him. It's probably not that far. So it would have been a nice show for him. The show is still tomorrow. And I'm just wondering, it would be worth it for Maddie to go because some people do the Kent show one day and the Zagre show the next or vice versa. So, but fortunate that I was there, fortunate that I got those saws. So a little less pressure on me for the get-together saw. I can clean this one up and maybe take it apart, maybe do some porting or something. But at least I have everything that I need to build this thing. So anyway, what else is going on? Like I said, a lot of customers calling me up today. One guy wanted me to do a head gasket, or no, I wanted to do a head gasket on this tractor maybe a month ago. And I said, look, I have time now. Let me do it. Well, no. It's not smoking that bad. Calls me up today. It's smoking. I can't stand it. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, price just went up. So we'll see. But the only thing, Tim, what they had there, the 2 that I bought were probably the best quality of saw. There were a couple, mostly firewood saws, 142s, 136s, 36s, 42s. I saw an old 51. A couple of like really old, not old, but just left outside 42s and 30 something, 35s or whatever. Just, firewood saws, cheap saws, not worth it. And some of the guys, they think the stuff's made out of gold, so they charge crazy money. But no, like I said, this guy, he wanted a lot for both of them. For one of them, he wanted a lot. I saw the 346. He actually had 100 on the 346. And I said, nah, I'm not going to spend that. So when I saw the 262, I said, how about a package deal? I made him an offer and he took it. So saved on both. So, but Zagre, like I said, Zagre Farm in Colchester, Connecticut. It's a good show. It's a working farm. They just put a huge building up that they're going to keep restored equipment and tractors and things like that. So I don't know if you saw the video on the Zagre show. I did a 10-minute video showing the sawmill, some of the cable operated shovels that used to be like steam shovels. Now they're diesel powered. It's pretty cool stuff. They have some Worthington tractors up there where they convert the Model Ts into tractors. Worthingtons, they used to use them to pull golf course mowers. So they had a few of those up there. But overall, it's a pretty good show today. Pretty good turnout. Not as many tractors as usual. Usually there's more of the garden tractors that I like because I'm a International Harvester Cub Cadet guy. So SP 125. I wish I knew that 3 months ago. I gave away 2 of those to a friend of mine who collects McCullochs. I actually had about 60 McCullochs. I had some ProMac 600s, a couple of 1010s, a couple of 125s. I had a bunch of those things. A friend of mine gave me a bunch of them like 20 years ago, and I never really ran them. They were very heavy for me. The Mac saws, the old magnesium saws, were very heavy. So I never really enjoyed sawing with them. So, but I'll keep my eye out there. Like I said, there's a few guys around here that like the Mac. So I'll ask around. I'll see. My buddy Justin, he may be watching this. I gave him a few Macs too, but he may even have one of those. I'll check it out. What else? There's one guy up there who has a lot of vintage saws, mostly home lights, but all vintage 50s and 60s. He always has a nice display going on. He has them. Usually they're idling, sitting on a tarp. He didn't have them running today, but he had the same ones that you see. The problem is you go to the shows and you see the exact same saws that you saw last year, the year before, like that. So I don't know. If he had a better, maybe a dynamic display or something, maybe an old tree with limbs that he could put them in, that might have looked nicer. Get out. A 125C is worth that much? Why? Are they rare? What really? What makes them so expensive? Shoot, I wish I knew that 3 months ago. Oh, no wonder the guy I gave them to was loving it when I gave them to him. Wow. Wow. Now 125C, does that mean they're 125cc? Like a huge saw like that or what? Interesting. I never knew that about those. Like I said, they were always a very heavy saw. So for me, I mean, lugging around a heavy saw all the time for the type of wood I'm cutting some of the time, I don't know, not really worth it. Wow. 120. I got to keep my eye out for those then, because I do see Macs every now and then. I just never really, cared too much about the Macs because I never was into them. I wasn't until I'll be honest with you, until I met Maddie, I wasn't really into saws at all. But he gave me that as is saw to try out, and I was like, wow, this thing really pulls. And that was a 350 modified. And I said, or three, is it 350 or 372? It may have been 372. But once I had my hands on a modified saw, I sort of got the bug, because it's really not that expensive to fix and modify these things, So, and you can have some fun. Like I said, I'm not really a logger. I don't burn a lot of wood or anything. It's just I enjoy more building them and having fun than anything else. Building them and getting that first pop. I mean, that's what gets me going. Especially when I rebuild an engine, a tractor, or motorcycle, or whatever. Just that first pop and getting things going. That's what gets me. But I'll definitely keep an eye on them, Tim. Just SP 125C, big block muscle saw. Really? Now I would assume that's what, like late 70s or 80s or what? Trying to think back, maybe 80s. But SP 125C. I got to look that up on Mike Akers' site and see what it's all about. Maybe see if there's any video. Buchan, how many does Buchan have? Buchan must have a few of those. I mean, he's like the McCulloch guru. Oh, 68 to 7. Wow. Okay. Wow. Yeah, Buck and Billy Ray must have a few of those in his little Mac museum over there. I was looking at some of his stuff the other day. He's got some wicked McCullochs over there. But 68 to 70, does that mean they have like the round or teardrop looking cover on them? Or is it still like a squarish cover, yellow with the black cover, that kind of thing? Because I know some of the older ones have like a roundish mesh type cover over the recoil. Is it similar to the shape of like it is round? Okay. Because I was thinking I'm used to like ProMax 610, 1010s, Mac 10s, where they're like boxy, sort of like home lights, that boxy shape. But the round ones, okay. Because I know a lot of times on those round, I can look it up, but the round ones usually have that chrome cover with the M on it, and it's got the holes on the side for venting. Pretty cool covers if it's the same one. But definitely take a look for one. But yeah, $1,000. I wouldn't have guessed that. That's something else. But oh, okay, I know exactly what you're talking about now because I did build some McCulloch go-kart engines. Yep, I actually built a few of those years ago. I know exactly what you're talking about now. Yep, I had a customer of mine had a lot. He had some factory McCulloch go-karts, and he wanted me to do the engines on them. I'm going back a few years, but yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Good, nice engines too. I was amazed. Reed valve engines, so really pretty cool. Yeah, cool design. You don't see Reed valve engines anymore. So definitely cool. Do you even have one now, or are you just looking for one, or did you have one? Just curious, because I know a lot of times people look for saws that they had in their youth, or the saws that their fathers or grandfathers had. My father was never into it. I think my father, the only saw he ever owned, I think he bought a electric powered Craftsman saw. I'll never forget. It was that gray plastic, and I think it had a 14-inch bar on it. And I'll never forget. He used automatic transmission fluid for bar oil. Never forgot that. Shadow Frame 2101 Max. Okay, cool. Yeah, Max is funny. It's like a cult following for Max. You don't see a lot of people that like him because the newer plastic ones give him a bad name, and especially those what is it? Those little Mighty Max, those little saws. I mean, I think they're cute little saws. I mean, they work pretty good. The problem I find now is parts are expensive. I still am looking for coils. I have three McCulloch saws. That one I'd love to do the video on for that coil, but that needs a coil, and that's a 3616 or 3416, something like that. I think I have a 3216, a 3416, a 3616 that all need coils, and they're all in good shape. It's just they need coils. But the coils are like $80 if you find them, and I said, I'm not spending $80. The saw didn't cost me $80, because the only one that has them is Randy. Randy's engine repair, and I like Randy. He's got great parts and hard to find parts, but $80 for a coil for a Mac. If it was a Pro Mac or 125 or something like that, I probably would. But just a standard like a 3214, now that's a wood saw. It's nothing crazy about that. I think it's a 60cc saw. There's nothing crazy about those saws. But they run good and they're fairly lightweight. So, but I don't know. I wouldn't put $100 in it just for ignition. You know. Looks like it's just you and me, pal. Everyone else is gone to bed, I guess. I figured Mr. Faust would be on or somebody. I know the guys in Ireland and New Zealand, they're in bed, but my daughter wanted to take us out for pizza. How often can you turn down a free meal from one of your kids? So I figured, what the heck, you know. But like I said, tomorrow I'll see if I could film what the cylinder looked like on that 262 because definitely it looked unbelievable. And then to take off the cylinder, the muffler on the 346, though, I got to take the muffler off. I mean, take the muffler off. I have to take the bar and chain to get to the felling spike because the bolt goes through the felling spike and holds that on. So it's not just the four muffler bolts, but this actually had the muffler support on it, the muffler crutch, where it has the two bolts holding the muffler, so the exhaust won't burn the crap out of the bottom of the case. So that was good. It had that on it. So, but yeah, I mean, the 262 was well used. XP, it was well used. The 346, it was well used too. The chain catcher, the aluminum chain catcher on it, is about 3/4 there, so it's not too bad. So it wasn't really abused. It was used, definitely used and loved, but I don't think it was really abused. Aftermarket bar on the big one, factory bar on the small one. But I think I'm going to do a nice Sugihara bar. Make a nice showing at the get together in a couple of weeks. Nice Sugi and maybe even a Sumara too. We'll see. They just look cool. But someone was telling me to call up John Riley and have him get me a square grind race bar and chain for the 346. So who knows? We'll see. I don't even know where he is. Where's Riley? Is he in Ohio or something? John Riley? I don't even know. But anywho, what else is going on? It's 10 o'clock, a little after 10. I expected more people here. I don't know, Timmy. Anything else you want to talk about? Otherwise, I'm going to end it short because I love talking to you, brother, but I'm a little tired. It's just me and you. What do you think? Should I call it quits? Oh, one thing at the show. I was talking about that RJ58 wheel horse yesterday. where I needed an original tire because the owner wanted an original one. There was actually a guy up there with 5 or 6 of these RJs, and a guy that was standing next to him actually says he had the same thing. He had a set of tires, orphaned one of them because of a blowout, and he was willing to sell it. So I gave him my card, and I'm hoping he calls me. So if I can get my customer a matching 1958 Goodyear tire, that would be great. So I'm hoping that comes through because my customer, even though he didn't really care for the tires I put on, which were Kendas, they had a nice tread on them and all, and it looked similar to the old tread, but there's nothing like the original tread with the zigzag tread pattern from the 50s. But they haven't made those tires in 50 years, so hard to find. All right. I think I'm going to bolt, Tim. It's just me and you. And like I said, I love you, brother, but I'm getting a little tired. It's after 10, so I think I'm going to hit it. Yeah, you're right, Tim. It's called the Gold Coast for a reason. The only problem is people look at saws and they think they're made of gold. So, but you can get good deals sometimes. I picked up an 021 steel. I'll never forget it. Last year, sometime, we use Craigslist like everyone uses up here, and he said chainsaw $25, and I'm like, whoa. So I called him. I go, what kind of chainsaw? It was a steel 021, so firewood saw, cheap saw. I mean, brand new. They were what, $200? But I said $25. He goes, yeah. He goes, I cut down a couple limbs. It's been sitting in my basement. I'm like, what? So I go over there. He had only used it literally to cut down 2 limbs, and then he put it on his desk on a piece of newspaper in his family room downstairs, and it sat there for 10, 12 years. So for $25, I actually left work early, drove down there, picked it up. So the depressed South. Yeah, but you know what? I don't know. Maybe you got peace of mind down there, though. Here, everyone's just so concerned about money, between expensive gas, expensive rents. I mean, gasoline. I was in southern Connecticut, southwestern, expensive Connecticut yesterday, and I was low on gas. So let me get gas. Regular gas was almost $3.50 a gallon. Here it's like $2.99 where I am. Just 20 miles down the street, 50 cents more a gallon. Crazy, But then again, there's a house up the street from me, and like I said, I live in an area where it's mostly ranches, and it's not that expensive. But he wants $800,000 for it. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? We call them McMansions, where they have these little postage stamp lots, and they build these $1 million homes. It's crazy. But you know what it is? They get people from New York City, which is an hour south of here, that don't want a yard, that don't want any maintenance, and they want high-end fixtures and things. So that's what they do. They build these houses so they're all top high-end stuff. And, because taxes aren't that expensive where we are. Not as low as you guys down there. I mean, not ridiculously low, but not too bad. Pool on Ray. Yeah, they sell good at the flea market. There was a bunch of those there today. There was a guy who had a bunch of wood sharks and a bunch of what the hell is it? The purple one, the wild thing. There was a few of those. There was one there I was thinking about buying. I love the old magnesium ones, like the 3400s and the real magnesium ones, the ones that actually came with good sized bars and all. I was gonna buy it, and actually it looked decent, but it wouldn't run. The guy said, "No, there's a problem with it." I was like, yeah, and he wanted $75 for it. And I said, "No, it's not worth $75." But I like the old green, like the 3400s and that series of pool on. It's a nice saw, but like I said, he couldn't get it running. It looked like it had been beat up a little bit, so we'll see. All right, Timmy, I'm gonna go. I wish you well, and hopefully have a good night. And I'll be back tomorrow. Like I said, we'll work on some customer stuff. It's supposed to be raining all day, so maybe I'll be in the shop tomorrow downstairs and take these saws apart and put some videos together for you guys. So, all right. So you take care. People from New York by way of Florida. Yeah, but remember, Tim, no one's ever from Florida. They're always from somewhere else. Everyone in Florida, no one's from there originally. I think it's illegal to be born in Florida. You have to be born somewhere else and then transplant down. But they used to say, "What's the New York's? What is it? What did they say? What's a New Yorker's favorite wine?" And they say, "What?" It's like, "I want to go to Miami." Yeah, so that's an old joke. It's a bad joke, but it's an old joke. Anyway, but oh, John's in Florida. Oh, no kidding. Riley's in Florida. Oh, cool. But anyway, I like it down in Florida. I mean, it's fun. It's just, to me, I don't know, too humid though. I don't like the humidity. All right, Timmy, I'm gonna go. I could talk to you forever, but I gotta go. I'm gonna grab something to drink real quick and go to bed. So Take care of yourself. We'll see you later. Hopefully, we'll put some more content on tomorrow. And that'll be it for me. So have a great night. And I'm sorry no one else is on here. I figured people would be on. But anyway, take care, Tim. We'll see you, pal. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.